Thank you for that introduction, Victor. Somebody left some fellow members of the United Patriots slate, ladies and gentlemen, I want to join the others in thanking all of you for coming out here in the Diego Martin constituency in these conditions. I came from a walkabout in Chaguanas West earlier today, where we got a very, very good response. And coming up and looking at the weather, I was wondering, what would be the turnout. And I'm very, very happy to see all of you here and to see that you're still here. Because I don't know how many of you realize, but for a while now, at UNC meetings, not our meetings, of course, not United Patriot meetings, but at general UNC meetings, when the last speaker is speaking, before the speaker is finished, people would start leaving the meeting. Right? That never used to happen during Mr. Pandey days. Mr. Pandey would be speaking at 10 p.m. and the persons there would be hanging on every syllable he would utter. No, not a man would move. We have to go back to that and move away from this, what I call dolly house politics that we have engaged in over the years. But let me stay away from non-topic issues and focus on topic. Sometimes when something is before your very eyes, you don't see it because it's so close. And I want you as members of the United National Congress to understand what you have before your eyes. And let me draw reference to Kyle. Kyle is an attorney. Kyle doesn't have to be here. Kyle put in a nomination for the seat of Couva North. In our party, it has become customary when people want something from the leader or otherwise, all of a sudden, the only word that they could say is yes. Right? They become yes men and yes women. Here we have Kyle, who has put in a nomination for a seat. And he is prepared to stand up and tell the members of the party, and by extension the national community, that all is not well in the United National Congress and things need to be changed. And I think that is something that we have to recognize, appreciate, and applaud. Because when he does that, he does it for you, the members. He gains nothing. In fact, he harms himself. And we have to understand what has happened. He is harming himself and his chances of getting that seat because he cares about all of you. And he cares about our party. And when people do that for you, you have to appreciate it. And you have to realize that that is someone special. Because we don't get people like that very often. When Rushton Paré and Anita Haynes and Rodney Charles and Dinesh Rambali and Rai Ragbir stand up and tell the leadership in this party that we don't agree with what you're doing, all of them have put themselves on the line. And they have put the seat that they hold in jeopardy. And it takes great people, great men and women, strong men and women with conviction to do something like that. And as a party, we must applaud them and thank them for the stand that they have taken. Not because they have adopted a different position, we must label them and castigate them as PNM. That is wrong. And it is not something that should be tolerated by you, the membership of the party. You can't find a way to attack what they're saying. You can't find a way to attack their call for change in the party. You can't find a way to criticize what they are saying should be changed in the party. So what you do the easiest thing. Man, them is PNM. Right? I see last night the leader jump up on the platform and they're basically saying, it's there on social media today, kick out the PNM, their page attacking Gary as PNM now. Right? At this stage in the politics of the country and the politics of the party, when we should bring in everybody together, we sending everybody to the PNM. Does that make sense? Are you prepared to tolerate that type of conduct in our party? Now, I coming up here, I feel like the tail ender. You know, in a great cricket match when all the runs make ready and a man that's coming there to hold, I feel like that now because the batsmen that went before me score all the runs. So I really don't know what else I'm going to say. But I have a few things I want to emphasize because they're important. We have to understand what we are about here. A lot of people still don't understand this thing about an NATEX election and why it's important and why we should get involved. It is very, very important because the NATEX of your party plays a very important role in selecting the candidates that are to represent you in the general election next year. And from what we have seen so far, in 2015 we failed, and in 2020 we failed. And many of you would agree with me when I say that we lost those elections on the evening or morning or midnight. You know, a lot of things in this party now is done midnight and after midnight and that sort of thing. When the candidates were announced. Because when the candidates were announced, the national community said collectively, nah boy, we all are joking. We can't support them clowns that you all putting up there. Right? And I don't mean everyone, but there were certain individuals who were chosen and placed in safe seats that the national community had a great deal of concern about. And that is why we lost the vote and we lost the election. Because we could not get the swing voters, the floating voters, the people in our marginal constituencies to see us as a serious party that is serious about winning government and that can be trusted. And that is the key to it, trust. That can be trusted with running the affairs of the country. So you have to put in place a NATEX that could be trusted with the running of the affairs of your party, and that would run it in a way that could earn the trust of the national community. And that is what we are about right now. I have said it over and over again that the candidates we put in our safe seats will affect our marginals. Over and over again. That's a rule. And that is the truth about elections in Trinidad and Tobago. The candidates you put in your safe seats will affect your marginals. You can't put any Tom, Dick, and Harry in the safe seat and then go out and look and say, Kyle, go and fight St. Joseph, man, or Gary, go and fight Tunapuna, and expect them to win and expect to win the national election. It will not work. You can't take a clown and hide him out in Caroni Central and expect the national community to accept the candidate you put in St. Joseph, in Toco Sangre Grande, in San Fernando West. It will not work. And therefore, what we are about is ensuring that your party has a slate of serious candidates led by MP Rushton Parry that will be able to do the work to put this party in order to face the general election in 2025 or even earlier if it's called. Because I saw in the newspapers over the weekend, some well-known writers are hinting that the economic situation is so bad that perhaps the government cannot afford to go back to another budget or cannot afford another budget. And therefore we could have possibly an election this year. So the time is coming very, very close when the UNC will have to go out. And you see, we were in the wilderness for 10 years between the year 2000 to 2010. And when we made significant changes in our party in 2010, in May of 2010, look at how easy it was for the UNC to take the government of the country. It is more than just ironic that next year will make 10 years since we're out again. So the time is ripe for us to get back into government, for us to give Trinidad and Tobago responsible government, for us to give Trinidad and Tobago government with the guiding philosophies that exist in the United National Congress. Next year will be that 10-year mark. And if we are to get in there, the only way it could be done, and the thing that will ensure that it happens, is if we make significant changes in our party. And that is why you all are out here today. Because God forbid if we have 5 more years of the Rowley PNM. Right? Rowley is not going anywhere as long as our party remains the same. Because he beat us twice with what we have already. Why would he move away and avoid beating us a third time? The party as exists right now is bubbly. You want your party to be a bubbly? So we have to make changes. We have to be serious. And that could only happen if we go out and we do our duty. And it can't be us alone. We have to speak to all the members that we know, everyone, and get them out there on Saturday, this Saturday. As Dr. Manchun pointed out, for whatever reason, and I think I know the reason, I'll come to it just now. The election has been put for the first time ever on a Saturday. Saturday is market, Saturday is going to buy groceries, Saturday is running all sorts of errands, Saturday is the day before Father's Day. People will be so busy, there will be so much traffic on the road. And yet still the leadership saw it proper. That alone shows how this party is being run. That simple thing shows how this party is being run. That you put an internal election, an important election as this election, on the Saturday before Father's Day. But in any event, it is what it is, and we have a very, very serious duty to perform, and therefore we have to go out and perform that duty. Because if we wake up on the morning of Sunday the 16th and we see that we have not made significant changes in our party, I'm telling you, you could kiss the 2025 general election goodbye. It is so grave, it is so important. And we have to ensure that our party is able to attract everyone. Mr. Rushton Parry has said it. The aim of this slate of candidates is to bring everybody together. We're not going to label anybody PNM and turn away anybody. Politics is about chemistry before it is about mathematics. It's about chemistry. You have to draw people to you. Whether it's Gary or Michaela or Timothy Hamel-Smith, whoever it is, we have to draw them to us. And we can only draw them to us by having a proper slate of candidates to represent our party. You have heard from every speaker that all the candidates on our slate are properly qualified. No one could point any fingers at them. And they are competent and eager to get down to the heavy and difficult task of reorganizing your party and making it fit for the general election next year. So I invite you, come Saturday, give yourself a chance and go out there and put your X by all the candidates under the praying hand symbol. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much, my brother. I always maintain that whatever meeting we have, 9 o'clock must be the time to close. And so I want to thank each and every one of you for bracing the weather and coming out here this afternoon. I mean, you have heard from our candidate for the chairman position. You have heard from Kyle Taklal Singh. You have heard from Jazzy, from Curtis, Ricky, Chanel, Archie. Now, this is part of the team. We have other meetings going on elsewhere. You know, it's crunch time, so we had to share up the team to try to really get out to the membership, because as it is, Johnny, while you have the list, if you really go through the list, you'll realize that you have part of the list. Because even on that list, you will find, for instance, in Labre, we have over 150 persons who already departed this life. But nevertheless, it is what it is, and we have to go out and find the votes. We have to go out and bring them out. We have to remember the symbol is the praying hands. And most of all, you have to remember that this is about bringing a stronger UNC in order to have a stronger TNT. So I invite you to go to your home safely. We appreciate your presence, but at this time, we have to say good night. Thank you.
Make this party strong, my life will be better, so don't vote for no one else. The United Patriots, 2024. United Patriots, 2024. The United Patriots, 2024. The United Patriots, 2024. Because a stronger UNC, 2024. It's a stronger TNT, 2024. A stronger UNC, 2024. It's a stronger TNT, 2024. So the life will be better. Say make party stronger. So the life will be better. Say make party stronger.
A stronger UNC is a stronger TNT. Vote the symbol of the praying hands on June 15th, 2024.
A stronger UNC